everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We are going to talk a little bit about Costa Rica and the Four Seasons Resort Costa Rica at Peninsula Papagayo. It's always on top of our clients' mind when they're planning a Costa Rican vacation. We're joined by our friend Anthony Utard from the sales office at the Four Seasons. And today we're going to review the top reasons why you should consider the resort for your next vacation. Anthony, thanks a million for joining us. Let's go in and start talking about the location and actually the resort layout. It's part of a larger private community. Tell us a little bit about the community and the resort layout and some of the advantages that clients can think about.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you so much for having me as well. It's always a pleasure to talk about that beautiful hidden jewel. Not only Costa Rica as a destination, but also Peninsula Papagayo. It is, as you mentioned, a very exclusive community. As you can see here, right, we're at the very, very tip of that private peninsula. So think of that as 1,400 acres of pure tropical dry forest. A fantastic, backyard to play around with and activities. We'll talk about that later on, but it is, exclusive. The golf course there is only accessible for the members of the peninsula. And you can move around actually with either our complimentary transportation throughout. We have luxury SUVs. So that can take you from the Four Seasons to the Andas, to the Marina, or the nature center, or you can also explore on your own. So you just get a complimentary electric bike, and I insist on electric because it is quite hilly. So you want to have that little extra kick. And then you have charging stations everywhere. So you can, hop on the back of the Four Seasons, go to the beach club for lunch, spend a bit of time over there, and then hop again and really explore on your own as well.
And I think the location of the Four Seasons, I mean, it was the actual resort. Now it's great to have all these options because you're in a resort within a resort, so you're the main luxury piece of it, and so you're at the one place that's secluded and the best location, and then you have access to this little world for the family. But the layout for the resort is great for families. Can you tell us a little bit about how the pool and the beach layout kind of occur?
Yes, it is, as you mentioned, like fantastic for families, whether you're multi-generational or even just all adults, right? Because being at the very, very tip that stretches into the Pacific Ocean. So we have these two beautiful beaches that you can see here.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, Costa Rica is a volcanic country, right? So it's the beaches from one place in Costa Rica versus another can be very, very different. You can have full black sand, you can have darker sand, and we're actually very blessed to have more of that wider sand at the resort. Incredible wildlife in the water, so you can really, Virador here, which is like you'll see on the right, is facing the sunset. Both beaches are actually very swimmable, but this is where really the families with the young kids like to, enjoy the end of the afternoon. Kids play in the water. It's also the same beach that is next to the kids club. So, everything is very, very connected. And you can go from one beach to the other in 25 seconds, and then you can move to Blanca Beach, which faces inside the bay on the left, and a bit more rock formations right there, but this is where you have really incredible wildlife. So you hop on the kayak in the morning, you'll get your spotted stingrays, your sea turtles, and all of that. So it's really very nicely laid out because the guest rooms are right in the middle where we have the three pools and most of the restaurants.
And I think one of the things too is when you're looking at this picture, this is from the hotel, and then as you move to the tip, right? So the hotel is kind of the circular, being there, and then you have the villas and the room and some of the room buildings going up that hill up to the Canopy Suites. And what's particularly great, we have a lot, when we're looking at multi-generational with grandma, the kids, and the parents, this is a great setup because grandparents or even parents can be at the pool, and as long as the kids are teenagers, they can move very easily from one place to the other and very safely. we've stayed with you guys, and that's one of the things that we loved about it, is just hanging out that pool, and then you just kind of are 2 seconds away. And besides the two main pools that you can actually see on the picture, right, there's an adult pool on the Pacific side, correct? Or
Yes.
an over pool?
There is an adult pool just right there. It's a little bit in the shade, but facing the Pacific side indeed. And then on the top of that, you also have, the kids splash pool at the kids Four Seasons. That's, always complimentary. But, it's not only you have all of that, you have 4 pools, you have the 2 beaches, and you have all these villas and suites. And most of the villas actually have their own pools as well. So, when you think about your spring break, your festive, like this is kind of like busier time, like between all of that, these 3 options, plus people who go out and about on adventures, and there's never that feeling of being really overcrowded or feeling like, oh, I'm not gonna get space at the pool or at the beach. To give you a funny anecdote, like over the past festive, like on average every day we had 150 to 200 guests going out on like activities every single day, which is huge because there's, whether they're on the peninsula or like further out, that really guarantee like a really cool flow and not having that overcrowded space throughout the resort.
We were with you during Easter 5 years ago, and that's exactly it. Most families will leave every other day for at least half a day, if not the full day, which brings us to the perfect transition is, just the adventure part of Costa Rica. There's just so much to do right there at the resort. Tell us a bit of some of the favorite activities that you particularly, that you love for families.
It's hard. I'll just tell a personal anecdote that first time I went to Costa Rica, it was in 2016. I was working for another Four Seasons property, and I went there, and I grew up in a very tropical environment as well, and that's calls for maybe another conversation. But I love nature, and I love that wildlife area. And you get to Costa Rica, and even at the Four Seasons and on the peninsula, it is insane the amount of wildlife that you'll see. So that's the first thing that if anybody who's really a nature lover, and the scientific side of it, we have a nature center with accredited biologists who are from Costa Rica but came to the US to actually study and went back home because they're so proud of their country. So for guests who are a little bit on that level of very scientific and want to know all about the wildlife, and there's like 5% of the biodiversity in the country, of the world, in Costa Rica. So it says a lot about what it has to offer. And if you're a bit more adventurous and you want to do more things, so you can either do things within the resort that are the complimentary activities. Within the peninsula, we actually have a club called the Explorers, and they will just create and custom made these, epic adventures, whether you're, on the land or on the ocean for either couples or families. It's really something for everybody. And what you see here, it's one of my favorites. It's called the Magical Mangrove. So you hop on one of these water bikes. And you actually go across one of the bays where you can see turtles, and all kind of like marine wildlife, and you go all the way up in the mangrove. And because you don't have any engine, the wildlife stays super close. So whether you're talking about endemic parrots, monkeys, you're like really surrounded by that beauty, to the point that you feel like you're in your own little Four Seasons Jurassic Park, in a way. So that's one of the things really that are very popular within Peninsula Papagayo. And of course, the last step is for people who are even more adventurous, and they don't mind going a bit further out. There's really a lot of options within 45 minutes all the way up to 2 hours out from the resort, whether it's zip lining, like when people come to Costa Rica and they decide to combine with the rainforest, let's say, and they come to us at the end, because it's usually how we recommend to do it. They do all the funky, thrilling zip lining upside down, how you want to do it in the jungle. But for people who just want to come to us and use us as a base, There are a lot of really cool zipline parks nearby, including one that has an animal rescue center called Diamante. And it has the longest and fastest zipline in Costa Rica, which is called the Superman. So they hook you up right from the back. And you literally feel like Superman. The only thing missing before is maybe a shot of the local chiriguaro, right? To give your to make sure you're brave enough to get there. And yeah, so those are things that can be done and very easily planned for days. Like you just want a full day out. You leave at 7 a.m. You come back, and then if you don't want to worry about getting ready to go to the restaurant, then you can have your a nice in villa dinner with your private chef. So that's how a lot of the clients do that, because they enjoy that, going crazy for one day and then coming back to their little hideaway.
And I think you're right. I think half of our clients will go and spend time in Arenal first, or Manuel Antonio, go to the rainforest, come, and then they end up with you guys. Although we have plenty of clients who can stay with you guys for 7 days, because it's you can stay 7 days, go out for an adventure one day, come back the next, and then there's so much to do just within a 60-minute, 90-minute drive from you guys. And in terms of nature, I mean, I remember being on the peninsula, and the monkeys, the howling monkeys, were just all over the place, and they're just there. It's amazing. And then so Anthony, tell us a little bit about your about the surf school.
Yeah, so we're very, very proud of our surf school, and the two women that manage it are absolutely fantastic. One is from Norway, funny enough, and then the other one who you see here is Andrea. She's a Tica. She's from Costa Rica, and she used to compete at very, very high level, at national competition level, a few years back, and then she just decided to share that passion with people, and so they run our surfing school now. So when it comes to different levels, obviously, if you are a beginner, there's like 2 spots literally within 5 minutes boat from the resort. One is like deep inside the bay, that we're on one of the side of the resort is inside of the bay, so you go deeper in that bay, and then you have like a very small surf for beginners, or actually on Playa Prieta, which is Prieta Beach, which is like one of the 7 beaches of the peninsula, where we have the beach club. So the beginners can surf there as well. And if you're more advanced, it's, half an hour, 45 minutes, sometimes up to an hour, depending on the conditions, to go to Elli's Point or Witch's Rock, that are really like for advanced surfers. And, it's still sand bottom, no corals, no rocks, which is great. And yeah, so, we love surfing with them. We took clients. I personally took clients with them, with Andrea, and we had the time of our life. People didn't want to come back to the resort, to the spa apartment. They didn't want to stay in the water.
There's something about surfing that once you get it, it's addicting, and especially when you have somebody who's competed and knows what they're doing, and these ladies, they'll get you going pretty quickly. And once you go, it's like you want to go every day. So that's what we try to tell clients, like, do the first lesson toward the start of it, because it's addictive and you're going to want to go again. So
it is.
Yeah.
It's addictive, and it's tiring, but in a good way, right? Like, because you feel accomplished, and then you just come back to the hotel, you go back to the resort, you have the best meal ever on the side of the beach.
Yeah.
And then you can hang out, or do other of the on-site activities, or go to the spa, or go back to your villa.
Yeah, and and talking about the adventure and the activity in Costa Rica is amazing. One of the great things that you have is that you have this wonderful spa that you were able to infuse a lot of Costa Rica into it. Tell us a little bit about some of those, maybe some of those treatments, or some of the things that they do at the spa that clients might be able to enjoy.
Yeah, we have such an incredible backyard, whether it's for adventures to take clients to, or all these resources on wellness and nature and food, and we'll talk about the food part in a little bit as well, obviously. But it's being in a country that has so much nature and all that. We have 66 volcanoes in Costa Rica. So obviously the whole clay, mud, volcanic rocks that we crumble, and then we use that as a body scrub. So we did all of that. We integrated all of that, all these classic elements from Costa Rica, chocolate and coffee as well. So we do mostly wraps and scrubs with these elements.
Gotcha.
But we also, because of the very rich flora in Costa Rica, we were able to kind of take the principles of Ayurveda and kind of tweak it and then really adapt it to what we had in the country. So we have our own, kind of local Costa Rican Ayurveda. So you can do your Ayurveda consultation with one of our specialists at the resort. And then depending on your Ayurvedic profile, which you have four, then, you have different types of treatments and oils that are, appropriate, like more adapted, for your particular profile.
Awesome.
So that's for the Zen, the wellness, the re-energize, and then we also have a fantastic team. For a lot of people, when they go on vacation, they like to indulge, they like to eat well, drink well, and they want to keep their fitness routine. So when it comes to that, this is the sky is really an option here, because you have 800 steps going around the resort, up the hill, and in the jungle. So that's called the Pura Vista climb. So we have trainers that will take you up and down these 800 steps, in so many different ways. Beach boot camp in the morning. We have Pilates instructors, a full-on 2-level gym, spinning classes outdoors overlooking the beach. So for people who really who are fitness addicts and they want to keep that going when they're on vacation, we also have everything to offer them.
And and one of the things too, like you said, kind of people like to live it up when they go down to the resort. One of the great things about the private community is that the hotel has its I think several on-site restaurants, but there's also, I believe, 12 total restaurants on the peninsula. So tell us a little bit about, the food within the hotel, and maybe some of the options outside of the hotel, which it might be 5 or 10 minutes away in the shuttle.
No, definitely. So, I always like to think, like, before a good meal, you need to have a good happy hour.
Yeah.
And the happiest hour at the resort is usually at La Reserva. So, Costa Rica produces an incredible rum called Centenario, and it's not, that well known abroad. It is still a very young company, like less than 50 years, but it's a family company. And so we created La Reserva really to initiate our guests to the beauty of Costa Rican rum. And that's part of our complimentary activities. So every day at 4 p.m., you can have either a rum tasting, so it's a rum and chocolate pairing, or a rum blending, so you can flavor your own rum, and you're being taught what works better with what age of rum, and then if you want to, you can have that infused for you, and you can bring it back home. So that's really like a huge success every day. People will come up to La Reserva to kind of learn more about the Costa Rican rum and what they can, do with it when it comes to flavors. But then after you had your happy hour, it's really, it's hard to pick the best spot, because they're all so different. I always like to mention that, you're in this beautiful country, and we allow you to enjoy the surroundings, because all of our dining options are outdoors. We also have indoor options, but you will have that beautiful terrace everywhere. So whether you're eating at Bahia for our all-day dining and buffet breakfast, if you want to go to Nemare, which is our steakhouse, so that's a little bit further out, right? So you go to the golf course, so it's a 5 to 7 minute drive with the complimentary transportation, and you overlook the 18th hole of the ocean course. And you're actually able to. There was some weird noise. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. That's what happens when we're working from home still.
Oh, okay. So let me just pause so you can put it back together.
Yeah, and then you were talking a little bit about the steakhouse in Mari.
Yeah, so Nemare Steakhouse, overlooking the 18th hole of the ocean course. And this is actually where we are about to launch our live asado as well. So we're gonna
Oh,
we did a fantastic setup outdoors for the garden table, which is one of our special venues. So you're under the stars, and we right next to we have our asado. So and we do a full asado, not only meat, but we do fish and also vegetarian, vegan asado, depending on the evenings. So that's been very very anticipated, and it's people love it. And when it comes to something a bit more seafood oriented, we have Pêché, which is our Mediterranean kitchen, right next to in what I call the heart of the resort, by the pool, by the beaches, and that has just gone a full transformation as well of the venue and the space. So a lot of really good places to indulge at the resort, and if you want to venture further outside of, oops, excuse me, further outside of Four Seasons only, you have like another seven more options within Peninsula Papagayo. So here, what you see is the Marina. It's a very laid back, really cool kind of Costa Rican sports bar vibe. Excellent cocktails, great food, and it's a nice way to stop on the way back from a zipline excursion in the morning for lunch, or do a little sunset drinks overlooking the marina and all the boats. So it's a different vibe there.
and one of the things that like we were completely floored by when we were there, nowadays with families with 100, unfortunately, all the food allergies, whether you're celiac or gluten or dairy. I mean, it was very easy for families to kind of navigate that world within your resort. So people should feel very, very comfortable with that type of care that you guys are able to provide.
Yeah, I think it's a reality, right? Whether
Yeah.
it is a health health
Yeah.
reason or a lifestyle preference,
Yeah.
there's a lot of different
True.
layers to it. And there are things that are imported to Costa Rica, obviously, but we have some of the most incredible raw materials in the country. So it's very easy for us to play around all these nuances and
Yeah.
and create things that are special for the guests. It all depends. Some people prefer to plan ahead of time, and we can definitely arrange to have meetings with the chef based on people's preferences. But we've seen that a lot of people, like, after not knowing what to expect when they arrive and they see how everything is being handled on site, it's like they go with the flow, and it's just like, oh, well, why did we plan all of that? We just we can decide every day if we want to.
It's when I saw just your waiter and your waitresses being able to manage a New York New Yorker and allergy. I was just completely floored because they knew what they were. You can tell that they had been kind of educated, or there was an ongoing education system to make sure that that those culinary choices that they had were taken care of, front of the house and back of the house. It was just really amazing to see. I haven't seen that in many places, but when I saw it there, I was really floored.
Thank you.
Now, the one thing that we need to kind of review is, the room choices. You have anywhere from, your normal room to your canopy suite to a residence. Tell us a little bit about some of the choices that people have when they arrive to you.
So I always say the sky is the limit at Four Seasons Resort Costa Rica, or almost the limit. It's true, like the options are very, very broad. And what we talked about earlier about the location, how things can be either very concentrated, and you can be in the heart of the action on a daily basis. And that would be, when staying in our guest rooms that you see here, with still a beautiful outdoor space, and they are in the buildings that are closer to the pools and the beaches and most of the restaurants. So great for families with young kids, or even groups of friends who just want to be in the heart of the action. And
the buildings are only 2 or 3 stories, correct? I forget how many stories there are.
Yeah, so because of the regulations in Costa Rica, there's like so many things you can do or not do when it comes to building. So for example, like, you cannot build up to a certain distance from the beach. or you cannot put a tree down to just open the view. So that's why you always have that kind of dry forest surrounded. When you're in your accommodation, the rooms change, the categories change just based on the view and the level. So you have a ground floor, ground/first floor, second floor, and 3 and 4. So it's very, very low, and it's very integrated in nature, which the guests love. And you can walk out on your terrace in the morning and have coffee with monkeys around you if you wanted to. So that's really for the guest rooms. And if you have if you have that soul of I call it a romantic adventurer, and you want to be a little bit more secluded, you can definitely look at our Canopy Suites with or without plunge pools. And you're a little bit higher up on the hill, but we can take in the jungle all around you and still have the views of the peninsula. And that's great for honeymooners, or even a family with one child. You can have the child sleep in the living room in the sofa bed.
And only 3 minutes, and only a 2-minute walk from the pool. You just go uphill a little bit, and that's where these suites are. So
yes.
Really
most of the time, people will walk down. They will ask for a quick 35 seconds golf cart ride up, especially if they had a long day of adventures or a few cocktails by the pool. Always good to have. And we have a fantastic team that can take them up quickly to back to their suite. And looking at the villas and the residences, this is more of a very extensive inventory. So we have one of the largest inventories within Four Seasons of what we call private retreats. What we see is that there's so many different needs and so many different dynamics, right, in the families or groups of people traveling. You're thinking about a multi-gen, so of course you might want to have that proximity to the heart of the resort, but still having that privacy and that luxury villa vibe. So that would be your Pacifico residences that you see here. You're under one same roof. It's great for family with younger kids because you have, of course, the rails and everybody's in the same unit. It has more that luxury condominium vibe, and you're 2 to 3 minutes walk from the beach, the pools, and the restaurants.
The kids club as well.
And the kids club as well. All of these units have fully equipped kitchen, laundry. I mean, it's literally your home. It's just different layouts and different locations. So, you can look also at what we call a canopy villa that's more for adults. Because you have 2 separate pods. So you're higher up on the hill on the other side of the pools and the beaches. More open views, definitely. You have more of that openness. But you have 2 different pavilions. So this is more appropriate for families with teenage kids or all adults because, families with younger kids want to be all together under one same roof. So, again, so many different options. And
how many rooms can it go? The residence, is it 3 to 4 bedroom? Is that what people should think about?
We start at 2 bedroom, and we're going all the way up to 5 bedrooms.
Gotcha.
And we now have a very nice selection of 5 bedroom accommodations since we opened Prieta Bay. So what you see here, so some of our estates at Prieta Bay, 4 and 5 bedrooms. And this is really we were very, very excited to have that additional part of the resort because you're between the beach club and the main resort facilities. However, you're never going to be more than 3 to 4 minutes away on the golf cart from the pools and the beaches. And this is definitely more of that ultra luxury, but even more secluded, right? So you can still have your butler, you can still have your private chef. You're on the side of the cliff overlooking the Pacific Ocean and these amazing sunsets. And you can still be with your entire family and, have that wonderful celebration and or just that private, yoga and Pilates class at sunset on your deck.
Right. So lots more privacy over here, but still only a 4 to 5 minute golf cart away to the pool. So, a little bit about both Beth's worlds. If a family wants to be together, for special dinners and hang out within the villa, but then again, when the kids or the teenagers or your adult children want to go and explore, they're steps away, they're moments away from there. And one of the things that you mentioned we didn't really talk about is you do have a beach. So there's a beach club that the residences and the villas can enjoy as a second place to kind of to relax and be near the beach.
Completely. So, I like to think of what we call, so it's the Prieta Bay Beach Club. And I like to think of it as a resort within the resort, right? So anybody who stays in a 2-bedroom accommodation or larger will have access to the beach club. And over there, you have, 2 additional dining venues. You have 2 pools. You have another beautiful beach. And this beach sometimes can be a little bit, have more surf, because this is the place where I mentioned earlier, we do like some of the beginner classes over there.
Yeah.
And they also have a kids club, right? So it's really like another alternative for the guests who are in the villas and residences and might want something a bit different than being in the heart of the action with everybody else. And if they're staying in Prieta Bay, they're actually much closer. Some of the villas at Prieta Bay are walking distance from the Prieta Beach Club. So, they could just like hop over there and walk 2-3 minutes and be at the beach club and enjoy it.
Yeah. So these, like the villas and the residences, just expand some of the resort activities or places that you can enjoy. So it's another thing to consider, and that's where you and I will work together for the right resident or a villa. That's why we've known each other for so long, and that's how we work together and kind of choosing that right villa for that client. And I think the one last thing that we need to do is it's so easy to get to, where it's so easy and convenient to reach, Papagayo. Tell us some of the convenient ways that people might be able to arrive.
So my favorite way is, to get on the boat off the coast of the US and paddle. No, I'm kidding. But no, it is like super easy, whenever you're in a kind of the major US cities, and we've seen the flight schedules being brought back to the levels we've known for so many years.
Yeah.
So whether you're out of a New York with, a United or JetBlue, your Miami is very easy. Your Atlanta, your Houston, like any of the major cities have direct flights several times a week, and even sometimes several times a day, depending on the season. The airport the code is the same. It's LIR, although it just changed their names to from Liberia to Guanacaste International.
Yep.
So it might be a little bit confusing, but the code is the same, and we're only 45 minutes away, right, from the airport.
Yeah.
For people who want to combine, I always say land in San Jose first, make your way through the rainforest, and go towards the coast, right? So it's easier, then you can leave from Liberia.
Yeah.
And getting in, you only have to fill a health pass online prior to boarding your departure town. And the travel insurance is only required for non-vaccinated travelers, and we do not need a test upon arrival.
And so vaccination status doesn't matter. You just have to buy travel insurance if you're not vaccinated.
Exactly. So, it's even the local insurances. So, you have the US policies and the local policies that the country put in place when they reopened in October 2020. The local policies are also very affordable and very easy to book.
Yeah.
So, if some people want a double peace of mind, it never hurts to take a look at these. And then, when it comes to leaving Costa Rica, we do all the testing on site. So either PCR or antigen, and we do rapid PCR within 24 hours as well, if need be.
Yeah.
It's very, very straightforward. We've been the country's really been open back to tourism with the right amount of cautious behavior. And it's been a success so far. So, it's been Costa Rica's back on the radar, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the key, like you mentioned, just in normal times, is that what people sometimes don't realize is that you can buy on United or JetBlue. You go either Newark, JFK. We're in New York, to San Jose, SJO, and then you just have your return from Liberia on the same ticket. It's really, really easy to purchase, and it's usually the same cost as opposed to the round trip from Liberia. But now with the new highway system, you can arrive to Liberia round trip and still get to, Arenal pretty easily, I believe, in 3 to 3.5 hours. So the ride's pretty short as well.
It is, yeah, it is very doable. I've done it myself. I think it was 2019 because 2019 just to have the experience, and it is 3 hours, 3:15. What is really like the tricky part is that when you get in and out of the Arenal region, you have to go around the lake, and it's you have to take it very slowly because there's lots of curves and turns and everything. But the landscapes are absolutely amazing to look at when you're not the one driving.
Both drives are beautiful, from San Jose or from Liberia into Arenal. Yeah. Both beautiful drives. Either you're going through the cloud forest from San Jose, or you're going through the dry forest, from Liberia. So they're both beautiful drives.
And anyway, a little like bumpy road. I mean, even the bumpy roads in Costa Rica are not that bad, and it's also part of the adventure. I like to say, it's you have a little bit of your highway, but then it's always fun adventure and see something a little bit different. So that's any part of the game.
It's always nice to take the back roads in life. Well, Anthony, it's so great to see you. I appreciate taking the time to kind of review the resort with us, and we look forward to seeing you in person soon.
Definitely. Thank you so much for inviting me, and let's get together soon for a nice Costa Rican beer.
See you soon, Anthony. Appreciate it.
Bye.